It's podcadzo.
What?
You've never seen Get Him to the Greek?
No.
No.
You've never seen that movie? Yeah, I should watch it.
Oh man, yeah. That is that with Russell Brand.
Russell Brand,
Yeah,
Jonah Hill.
I've heard of it.
Have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Dude, you
Heard of it.
I think I've just watched it recently for the first time, but I don't remember any of it. Doesn't that have that one dude in it? What's his name?
Peter Siegel. Jason
Jason
Siegel.
Segel.
Peter.
Peter Bretter, Kristen Bell. Mila Kunis, Russell Brand.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, he's the rock star.
Yeah, he's the same guy in Get Him to the Greek. All the
wait,
snow.
really?
Yeah, it's just,
Oh,
Get Him to the Greek is a cinematic continuation of the Sarah Marshall cinematic universe.
really?
Yes. So he plays the
Are
same
you
character.
fucking
But
kidding
what's
me right
weird
now?
is Jonah Hill is in both movies as different people.
Wait, really?
He's in Forgetting Sarah Marshall and plays like a waiter at the resort they're staying at in Hawaii who's obsessed with all the snow. And then again with the Greek, he's a music manager who lives in LA, or like a record label dude who lives in LA
With like a different name.
with a different name and different identity. He's a totally different person.
Weird.
He looks a lot different in Get Him to
You
the
hear that
Greek.
shit
though.
about Jonah Hill? Speaking of,
Yeah. I've been confused about that.
Heard something about that.
Yeah.
All I really know is he sent weird texts. To like an ex-girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I can give you a synopsis if you guys are unfamiliar. My sister just gave me a rundown. So he was dating her for a while, and she's like a semi-pro surfer / swimsuit model or something. And then he basically, why people are mad at him is because she released a chain of texts where he was getting on her for posting photos and for surfing with men. And it's the defense, surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are
What does
in
that
unstable
mean?
places, and from your wild past
What
beyond
does
getting a
that
lunch
even
or
mean?
coffee or something respectful.
What the fuck, dude? I would have, as soon as I saw that, I would have been like, fucking see you later, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell does that even
At first, I didn't really know what she did for a living or anything. I didn't know any of the background. I just saw like that text out of context, and everyone was like, "Oh, Jonah Hill's an asshole for breaking up with his girlfriend over this." I was like, "Yeah, those are like, kind of bullshit excuses or like boundaries to want to set, and like kind of, I guess you could say, sexist in a way. But also like, why are people getting so mad at him? Like they're just breaking up." But now it's like kind of fucked up that I found out she is like a surfer and a model, and he knew that.
he like knew that.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. They've been dating for a little bit. I feel like those were things that you would say in the beginning, be like, these are my boundaries, like at the beginning. So
And then she
nobody's
would've been
confused
like,
about it.
Well, I post a lot of pictures of myself almost naked, and I surf with a lot of men. And then he could have been like,
then you
I'm
can
not
lie,
here. That won't
then,
work for me.
Yeah.
But you got to wonder if those were his real reasons, or
You're right, yeah.
if like, I don't know. But also, she's, people are getting on her because she's waited a long time to put these texts out, and Jonah Hill just had a kid, and she was saying that she avoided doing it in the past several months, so she didn't do it during his wife's pregnancy and caused like emotional stress. I was like, it's kind of not better to do it right when the child is born though either, and like, it's like, why do we need to shame Jonah Hill for this and like get on his ass, and like why were those even put out in the first place?
Yeah, she just said she did it because she wants to like warn other women.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
She's like, I want some attention again from dating Jonah Hill.
I think-
And maybe that's an unfair way to look at it, but I
think
can't
you're
see
right,
any other
because
reason.
like if you didn't have the platform to speak out publicly and have like a mass amount of people acknowledge it, then that would be the type of thing you would want private forever. Like you wouldn't just tell like people on the street like, hey, like I used to date someone who was abusive emotionally. Like, yeah, I think you don't necessarily need to like call out every person for all their shitty behavior.
And
If it was like multiple women coming forward at the same time and like all accusing him of like emotional abuse on like the same level, then like, but I mean,
And
It's
if
really
you
hard
weren't a
to know.
notable person, like no one would, people would see that and be like, oh, that's kind of shitty. He like doesn't want you hanging out with men, but like,
Yeah.
it's not a crime.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
it makes
that,
him a shitty partner maybe, and like.
that
But again, it
you
was like
can
a
also
breakup.
just leave. Yeah, you can
Yeah, you
just
can leave.
as soon as you get a message like that, you can just be like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what most people would do. She probably kind of stayed with him because he's like Jonah Hill, you know? She's like, well, he's fucking Jonah Hill, so he might say some shit, but he's like cool overall.
Anyways, by the time this comes out, this will be.
We'll all be
we'll
well
be all
canceled.
like, oh yeah, Jonah
Even you,
Hill.
and you didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
We'll sit here like shit.
Be pre-canceled.
Speaking of which, if the listeners have not noticed, we have a very special edition of the podcast today.
Hello.
The elusive and mysterious Will Benson has joined us, the third member of Cadzo.
This guy's in Cats.
He's in the band.
Yeah,
in his first,
I am in
yeah,
that thing.
founding member of Cadzo. Yet you've never been on the podcast. Why?
Yeah. What's up?
Why? I don't know. I'm just, I'm not that much of a talker. I can talk about some stuff.
Nah, just joking. Well, we're giving you a third degree. And often it doesn't work with your schedule. You're a busy guy. So we're very happy to finally have you on the podcast.
I'm happy to be here.
You're obviously welcome. I'm going to put your name as a special call out in the description for this episode, but know that in future episodes I will not, because you are now a core member of the podcast and it's redundant to put your name in the.
All right.
And let's just get all this out of the way quickly so that we never have to talk about it again. How do we know you? Where did you come from?
Where did I come from?
Yeah.
What do you do in the band?
What's your deal?
Well, we all know each other from high school. Although I didn't really know Colin in high school, even though we went to high school together.
We're like casual friends.
Yeah.
I knew your name and stuff. And
Colin,
we
Colin was just really tall, so he just kind of scared me.
I was just a really tall dude to a lot of people,
Yeah.
unfortunately. You guys treated me like an object without getting to know the real me.
I'm sorry, is that not exactly how you're supposed to treat a fucking piece of
No,
meat?
you. Yeah, you should comment on my height. Any tall person you see, just comment on their height as much as you possibly can. And
Will do.
yeah,
Yeah, sounds like I can do
I
that.
have a good list of jokes that I can give you guys too. I've heard them all. Anyways,
yeah.
sorry, Will. Keep going.
Yeah, and Julie and I were super good friends in high school, and we remained that way all the way to now. And yeah, I play keys, synth in the band. It's like one of my primary instruments is piano. Also percussion. I did percussion with Julian. And yeah, basically after high school, I actually went away to Iowa for a number of years to get a degree in music. And then 2021, I came back to Fort Collins. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. We met up and started playing music.
Yes,
Yo.
we did. We were desperately looking for a keyboard player, and Julian was just like, I'm going to call Will. Will said, you'd come and jam with us the next day, and the rest is history. He fucking, like, immediately learned all the songs and contributed way doper parts than I could ever write. And then you re-recorded the tracks on put your own parts over the tracks we already had recorded for the EP and fucking put it out there.
Hell yeah.
It's been awesome.
Yeah. It was almost time to release the EP
Mm-hmm.
right when he joined, and then everything he wrote was cool.
Yeah,
So we
exactly.
wound up
Our thought
delaying the
was
EP.
like, I think originally we have keys on the songs, like we'll just put these out. Will can like learn these key parts, and then if he wants to do his own shit live, for sure. But we'll just put the EP out. But then like we heard what you were playing in rehearsal, and we're like, oh, this is so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude. Oh yeah. And what are we talking about today?
Today, well, I think we're going to talk about some King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. We're going to talk about one of my favorite
Yeah, brother.
bands.
It's the
one
only
of
way he'd
Julian's
come on the
favorite bands.
podcast.
Yeah, we had to talk King Giz.
So, I think, first of all, just to mention the fact that I think this is probably, apart from like White Stripes, Jack White, one of the like newer things we've talked about.
I think this is the most timely episode we've had for sure. Because outside of the latest album,
It's been
which
like
is
all
amazing.
90s and 80s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's not definitely not easy to be the most topical thing we've talked about. If you're in this millennium, you're more
True.
topical than most of the episodes. But this is just timely because I feel like the world is going King Giz mad lately. Like, I feel like
They're-
they've reached a new tier of popularity just within the past definitely within the past year, but even like past 5 months, 6 months,
Yeah.
everyone knows and loves King Giz. And it's cool to have a band that's well known because of how prolific they are and like that they have good music, but also it's the first like cool live band in a while that like people have been obsessed with because of the live shows and like going to see them in concert.
Totally.
Like it's like kind of back like to like a Fish thing, I think.
It has a lore to it. Like there's King Gizzard lore, and King Gizzard fans like buy into like the King Giz universe very seriously, the same way that like Fish heads kind of do, where it's like King Giz is a lifestyle a little bit, and it's also like part of it's shitty in a way, but like part of the way that you prove that you're like a big Giz fan is by like having all the like indie records and like all the unique shirts and merch and all this crap.
And there was like a jam band thing, like how many Dead shows have you been to? It's how many King Giz shows have you been to? So there's an insane amount to cover with King Giz, an insane amount I don't know about King Giz, although I would consider myself a fan. So no way can we cover everything today, but we're gonna fucking get into it.
Let's start at the beginning for us personally.
Yeah, that's a great
and then
idea.
Tie it back into Giz.
Let's do it.
Giz is like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not like a new influence for you, but it's like relatively new compared to some of the other shit that you listen to. Like, it didn't come into the fold in like a big way for you until
I think
a few years ago.
I don't think until maybe, well, actually, I'd say probably not since 2018 actually.
2018,
But
so that's a
2018 is when I really started listening a lot to them.
So what pulled you in at first?
Well, the first time I heard them was over at your place, and it was
Let's go, bitch.
It was Polygon Wonderland, which is just an amazing record. And I just like remember listening to it and being like, whoa, I've like never really heard something like this before. And it hits all the sweet spots for me because like it has like mixed meter and like polymetric kind of stuff.
So much
And
polymetric shit.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that just like scratches this itch for me since I'm also a percussionist, and I just love kind of weird time signature things like that. And yeah, I mean, even the instrumentation on it is amazing too.
Yeah. To dial it back even further for just a second, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but in high school, we were really good friends, I think, because we both kind of gravitated towards like slightly more experimental music than like most people around us.
Mm-hmm.
And combine that with like a very weird interest with like postmodern percussion use in music. Like we were both super into that. And so I think that's why we clicked early on, but also I think that's why in a lot of ways we kind of are drawn to like the same music, is because we both share that background of like using percussion in a lot of modern applications and trying to like push the concept of like the ways that percussion can be used. And then I mean, in a lot of ways percussion was like a secondary thing for you. Like you were a piano player and then you jumped into the percussion world slightly.
So you played piano before you did percussion?
Yeah, I started piano like in elementary school, and then I actually dropped piano for a while, and I just did percussion. And then it wasn't until high school where I picked piano back up again, and I really loved it. But I've also like been super into like playing the piano. Like of course I like was classically trained, so I did like lots of classical music, but I really enjoy playing the piano more like a percussion instrument.
Yeah. And it's cool that you have the like application, the knowledge and the application to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And also just tie all into the fold that you happen to be like a very gifted percussionist while also being like a very gifted pianist.
Thank you.
Just understand rhythm like very well, I feel like. So
what year did you say it was where you listened to Polygon Wonderland?
It would have been like probably around 2018 or something when I listened to Polygon Wonderland. Like pretty much all those records that came out in 2017. There's like 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you in before then?
So it's interesting. I think it was 2017 that I discovered them really for the first time. Like I had never heard of them before. didn't know who they were. I was stunned as fuck with Robert and Will, other Will, and we were at our old house watching KEXP sessions,
Yeah.
and Giz had just released Flying Microtonal Banana sessions, and so we watched that, and we were all just kind of like, whoa, this is super interesting. And so then I went and listened to Flying Microtonal Banana, honestly kind of fucking hated it.
Really?
And then, at first, if it's your first introduction to Giz, and, like, it's a microtonal album, and it's just, like, based on, like, repeating melodies, every song is, like, super repetitive.
Yeah.
The guitar and the vocal are, like, always doing exactly the same
Microtonal
thing.
was my into...
Really?
Into that,
so
yeah.
you listened to it and you liked it.
Well, I liked Rattlesnake as a single a lot.
I think I
That's
liked
the first time I heard of them.
I
was in
liked it when I
2016.
heard it on KEXP, but it just didn't translate over into the album.
Into the
for
album.
me.
It was the album version that I heard first. It was like played on like the alt radio station I was listening to a bunch of the time. It was like honestly overplayed, so I did become sick of it. But I had heard the name King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard before because funny name. People always referenced it. And then I remember Rattlesnake being on. I was like, oh, this is that band I'd heard about, and I was like, it was pretty cool. I'm sure I listened to the full album then, but it obviously didn't leave an impression on me. But that's how I first started listening to them, and then I didn't become like a fan until 2019ish, probably, when I actually came back and revisited the old records and all the new stuff they had been putting out.
Well, so I think essentially when I didn't like Microtonal the first time, I went on Spotify or whatever to back out to the albums and was just gonna call it a day. And then I just saw that they had put out 3 other albums right before Microtonal, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the order of them all. But oh, okay, so I think it might have been the end of 2017 because all of them were already out. But I had listened to this one first and then backed out and immediately saw Polygon Wannaland. And for some reason, I just knew that it was a weird experimental album just based on the art and the name.
Makes sense.
And so I just went and listened to it. And immediately with just the fact that it's so multi-metric that there's 2 to 4 time signatures overlaying each other any given moment of most of the songs pretty much. I was like, okay, this is fucking awesome. Because this was also my peak of being super into that. With Blue Taboo, we were trying to do multimeter shit all the time. With the other bands I was listening to, I was really just fascinated by the idea of being multimetric and able to make it be really seamless, not obvious.
Yeah, it's important with multimeter stuff to make it, basically to have a good, for it to not be a metronome or a computer.
Yeah.
For it to be musical, and they do a really good job on Polygon Wannaland. Even the melodies and stuff are in different meters than what the drums are doing.
Yeah.
But it really flows well together, and it's just really groovy.
Yeah, it grooves amazingly. You can pick a meter to lock into at pretty much any time in any song, even though there's 3 different things happening. And on top of that, I felt that album was uniquely super different from all the other Giz that I had really only heard Microtonal, but I was like, this is so different from Microtonal that I then kind of had the gears turning in my head where I was like, maybe this is a concept band where every album's different. And so then I went back to the beginning and listened to their first couple, and I was like, oh shit, I listened to 12 Bar Bruise, which I loved, and I listened to Paper Mache Dream Balloon, which I didn't love, and then I kind of just realized they're all over the place. They make all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of in from then on. So, but that being said, I think you might feel this way. I know you probably feel this way. Some albums they put out, or even some songs they put out, I'm kind of just eh.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be as prolific as them, you're gonna, but I mean, the more you release, the more bangers you release.
True.
Even so, it doesn't really matter. They still have so many more bangers than other bands, even if some of their stuff is kind of weak.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The interesting thing, I feel when I run into Giz fans, what I hear a lot is that they are all in the mindset that like Giz has like a perfect discography. Like
Yeah.
they've never missed.
Well, I feel like
I don't
there's
necessarily feel that way. But
yeah. No, I definitely don't feel that way.
I
But
definitely think they've maximized the idea of being prolific. So
and I think with a band like this, they can like kind of accomplish the thing that, you know, they're so prolific and have like a strange lore and like a good relationship with the fans where like it's kind of endearing almost when a song or an entire album maybe doesn't hit, where you're like, see, they're going for it. They just
they're doing
swung and
whatever
missed,
they
you know?
want,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's also really cool too, cause like after I found out about them, then like I went back to college for the next semester, and I like introduced all my friends there to it, and they all liked it, and they all like different albums actually,
Yeah.
because they all had different tastes in music, and it was really sick that we could all like the same band, not even necessarily the same albums, but like that we all like the same band because they had all this different stuff. Like my one friend Sam, she doesn't really like the more metal kind of stuff that they do, but she did really like Fishing for Fishies.
Yeah.
And she really liked Butterfly 3000, which are like lighter stuff, but it still has like that signature King Gizzard touch where they still do some like weird like meter stuff in those.
yeah.
And
And sometimes they even go so like Fishing for Fishies as an example. Sometimes they go so in on one concept that it takes like even a fan of King Giz like a decent amount of time to really get into that concept or like understand it. So like the first time I listened to Fishing for Fishies, I was like, what the fuck is this? This sucks. And then like 6 months later, I was like, this is fucking amazing.
There's some really good shit off of that album.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
Very beautiful.
And I almost kind of felt that way about Butterfly 3000 at first too. Like I never didn't like it, but I thought it was super boring the first time.
Let's I was gonna save this for later but I say we just do it now.
Yeah.
Top 3 King Giz records. Will.
The top 3.
Top 3.
Okay, so for number 3, I would probably, honestly, I'd probably put Nonagon Infinity. And then 2 would be Infest the Rat's Nest. And then 1 would be Polygon Wannaland.
Nice. That's solid.
Very solid choice. Julian.
Okay. So fuck. I always struggle so much with this. I think my thing with Polygon Wannaland is it's, in my opinion, probably their best one, but I've listened to it so many times that I I honestly never listen to it anymore. And when I put it on, I don't necessarily listen to it the same way as I used to. So I'm going to put Polygon Wannaland in number 3. I'm going to put... Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, for others. Tons of like little EP stuff they released too.
I would say, okay. Fuck. Sorry.
So wait, you said
I'm
you're
changing my answer. I'm
okay.
changing my answer slightly. So I'm going to go Petrodragonic Apocalypse number 3. Infest the Rat's Nest number 2. Polygon Wannaland number 1.
Okay.
And honorable mentions here for me, sorry, I just got to say it. Fishing for Fishies, Murder to the Universe, KG, not LW though, and then Mind Fuzz.
Oh, nice.
All right. I'll be curious to see how you guys react to one of these. So I'll say I'm going to go in opposite order. My number 1 is Petrodragonic Apocalypse.
Petrodragonic is sick.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
I've
crazy.
been listening to that so much lately
And
on repeat.
all of like their top 5 songs right now on streamers are all
From that
album.
I know. Yeah. It's amazing. I love that album. Polygon Wonderland, number 2 for me. And then Gumboot Soup. I'm gonna put as my 3rd.
No, I was gonna have Gumboot Soup as my honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
I do think there's some really great stuff
Yeah.
off of there. They also have some
Soup
really
and
heavy
Sketches
stuff
of
in there.
Brunswick East.
Yes.
Oh, you like Sketches of Brunswick
I
East?
love it, yeah. And I have it on vinyl, which I didn't love it when I bought it on vinyl, and then listening to it on vinyl made me love it because I feel like there's just a couple
That's
extra
cool.
things that I can't necessarily hear on the digital. My ears are trashed.
Okay, yeah.
I gotta get some of their vinyl.
Interesting.
And then flip the scales here. What are your 3 least favorite giz?
Well,
Okay.
shoot.
I'll go first. I can't stand Murder of the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very annoying. I don't really like Nonagon Infinity that much, and I think LW is also just super redundant and unnecessary.
I see.
All right. I was going to say Nonagon Infinity too. And I should probably just give it, it's one I haven't listened to that much. And maybe this is unfair because it's a newer album. I listened to Changes a couple times and it was kind of like, yeah, for me, nothing stood out too much from Changes.
It's all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not too crazy special.
Yeah. And then, oh, it's tough. Scroll down a little bit. Let me look at some of the other discography. I'll say LW too. And there's not many albums I like actively don't like. It's just like when I've listened to them, they're kind of
Yeah.
So LW was
Some of
one
them
of
are
them.
just not that memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it would definitely be. I think KG and LW. I wasn't like both of those. I wasn't really a big fan of. And then, let's see. Yeah, probably. Scroll down a little bit more. Honestly, for me, probably actually Sketches of Brunswick East. I actually did really like that one in the beginning. I kind of fell out of favor with me.
Any reason why?
I don't know. I kind of just listening to more of their stuff. It sounds like an album that maybe if they redid that theme again, like a kind of a more jazzy elevator stuff, I think they'd do a lot better. It's kind of like that's definitely something that's really different from their other albums because it's also I think they did it with another band or group. But yeah, it almost seems like a demo maybe or something like that. Kind of like what Flying Microtonal Banana is for like the later KGLW. Like KGLW, I feel is like the songs on those are better than Microtonal. But that's just because like they already released a Microtonal album before, so they kind of know what they're doing more. So yeah. But there is one off of Sketches I really, really freaking like a lot.
The other thing about this album is that a lot of the songs, well, like all the songs are super fucking short.
Oh, that is true, yeah.
Like, it's not a very long album, and I think that because 2017 was the year of like 5 albums or whatever, that they were just diving so deep into concepts.
Yeah.
They're like, well, this is a concept, so let's try it out and see what happens. I think what's enjoyable about it is the atmosphere of it, like how relaxed it is and how like organic it sounds and how warm it is. Compared
and
to
Mild
like,
High Club is who they collaborated with on
Yep.
it. What's
Mild
Mild
High
High Club
Club.
about?
Mild High Club, I think they're just like kind of a fusion-y jazz band. I think they do a lot of collaborations.
It's a great name, Mild High Club.
Pop group.
Pop group.
Psychedelic pop group. But I think they have like
Oh.
Jesus.
Who shook this shit up?
Oh. PBRs.
I think it's the ones I just brought. I shook them up.
But yeah, so all that being said about Giz favorites and least favorites, why do we all? Well, I guess you didn't put Petro Dragonic in your top 3, but I know you like it.
Yeah,
I
you
would
talked
have.
about it, you
I
liked
would
it.
have. Honestly, it would have been either Petro or Nonagon. I really like both of those a lot.
So what? Why are we all vibing with Petro Dragonic so much? It's a heavy album for sure.
I love thrash shit. I love the sounds of the album and how like raw and like it's really just like snare and guitar the whole time with good vocals too. And I just like it's the album I've connected with from King Giz the most. Like where I was like digging every song, really like digging the sequencing, connected with like the lyrics and the concept of the album. I like how a lot of the songs are just the name of the song, like the chorus of a lot of the songs is just the name of the song yelled over and over. I think that's a great concept to have in the album. Like this one's just called Gila Monster. And we're just gonna yell Gila.
Gila!
Gila. So yeah, and it fucking pumps me up too. Play it while I'm working. You get some aggression out. I listen to it when I'm mountain biking too. It's been a good mountain biking album lately.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very pump up music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the music videos are great as well.
Yeah, the music videos are super manic and crazy.
Yeah.
I think what I really like about their two heavy albums is that they both are very much like a cry for help for like humanity. Like they feel very much more like their other albums, especially lyrically, dive into like a concept or like a specific kind of universe or idea. I think the heavy shit is really just Giz being like, we're fucked, like, and we fucked up, and it's our fault, and like, you know, we're gonna watch the world burn, and like, it's like a prophecy foretelling itself. I really think that's fucking sick because it's like kind of how metal originated was like a social commentary to a certain extent, and like it's interesting to see them bring it back in like the context of the modern world. And then also just like Petrodragonic is like super also, I would say, like progressive like Polygon is. It has wandering time signatures and multimeters. A lot of the riffs are like odd time.
That's something I should mention about what's been keeping me so engaged in the album is just trying to figure out where the time change happened and like what time signature they're playing right now. I'll be tapping my foot. I'll be like, wait, what?
Which I
like
think
oftentimes I'm like, what is this?
In that context reminds me a lot of like Tool and like prog metal, which I don't like. Giz has never really done that before, so it's, I mean, obviously they're super good at it, but it's just interesting to see how natural it feels for them.
Yeah.
And building like a slightly different soundscape through that prog metal lens than they did on Infest the Rat's Nest. I think I connected the most with Infest the Rat's Nest out of like any of the Giz albums, because when it came out I was just listening to it constantly, but a lot of the riffs are more just like big straightforward riffs that like carry energy throughout the entirety of the song, whereas Petrodragonic like wanders a lot more and like has full on like instrumental breakdowns and like proggy math sections and shit like that.
Yeah, it does. I just wish it was longer, honestly.
It's a little short.
Yeah, that's true. I like your short album though, but
they're getting shorter.
Yeah. The other thing about Petrodragonic is it's like the album lately where I was most like, man, these guys fucking rip. Like, it's pretty impressive how much these guys can like change form, and like this one just impressed me the most musically, not because it's necessarily like them at their most proficient musically, although I guess you could say it's up there, but just because it's like such a change of pace. It's like, wow, they can just like change gears and make a really, really good thrash album, like better than any like real thrash band I've listened
that's
to.
the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're so good at making thrash music, and they're not even a thrash band.
Yeah, like the drummer, Kovs, I can't remember the name of the bassist, but the bass player, like both of them together, I feel like really carry so much of that energy, like, or like the ability to be flexible as a band, like, because the drummer can do like blast beats and like break beats and like full speed metal riffs, and the bassist can also like change his playing style to like lock in with exactly that, like perfectly, and they can also be like super casual, super laid back, leave a lot of space in the tracks, like going straight from changes to Petrodragonic, for example. Like, there's always that groove that's like universal through all the tracks, but the ability to like know when to leave a fuckload of space or step back, versus like Petrodragonic being, I would say, like a very heavily drum focused album.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's really cool to see that like specific individuals can play both sides of the hat like that so well.
Yeah. What's your guys' favorite track off of Petra Dragonic? If you had to pick one.
Well, Gila Monster is probably my favorite, but it's the most popular. So let me pick a different one.
Honestly, I think Motor Spirit and Flamethrower are my favorites.
That's so funny.
Motor
I was
Spirit's
just about
good.
to say those exact two are great. I like Converge too.
Converge is great,
Yeah.
yes. I love the chorus part where they just
Yeah.
Converge.
Converge.
Supercell.
Supercell is good, but I think my favorite, it wasn't my favorite at first. My favorite was Gila Monster at first, but now my favorite is Witchcraft.
Nice. Witchcraft is super good.
I
That
just-
one's way
yeah.
more straightforward, I feel like. It's just a thrash song through and through.
That one is. I just love when they say Witchcraft in it because it's like, it's almost like they put a tag at the end of the bar for it. It's just really interesting. It's just a really cool melody, honestly.
Yeah.
How long is the album? What's the runtime
It's
on
like
it?
34
Oh
minutes,
yeah, and I
right?
think the drums on Witchcraft do like, they do like a 5/8 kind
4/8.
of groove.
Oh, wait,
See, that's
really?
that's a
Yeah.
pretty long album.
Why did I think it was so short? Damn, why is the vinyl so much longer?
Probably comes with a bonus track.
Damn.
Or people are
Such
just
a crazy
playing it
name,
slower
too.
than they should.
Dawn of Eternal Night and Annihilation of Planet Earth and the Beginning of Merciless Damnation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Jesus, guys, okay, we get it.
Chill out, dudes.
All right, favorite songs off Infest the Rat's Nest?
Superbug
Yeah.
and Hell.
Hell is so good.
I think
And
Hell for me-
Self-Immolate.
Hell's the one I was vibing with the most yesterday when I was re-listening to this album.
Yeah, this album has a really special place in my heart because I went to go see them for the first time, like probably
Right
like
when this came out, right?
yeah, like probably like
On
a
this
week or two after this came out in Chicago, and yeah, it was insane. It was such a heavy concert. They did way more than just Infest the Rat's Nest, but like all the other tracks, they also like turned them into like metal songs, like even stuff like off of. Like they did do something from like Sketches, but it was like heavy. It was
So
crazy.
sick. I remember when this came out too, because they like teased heavy shit kind of on like Gumboot Soup. There's that song with the riff.
Yeah, it
the
was-
Chain of Being. Or
yeah,
whatever.
Great Chain of Being. That's a good one.
But yeah, so this, I'd always thought they would be good at doing doom stoner shit. And then this came out, and I was like, holy fuck, they did it. And then I listened to it, and I was like, they did it so fucking good. And they still maintain, like, that, like, it's totally different from anything they've ever done, but it still sounds like King Giz. Like, the guitar sounds are like King Giz guitar sounds. Like,
Yeah.
the drums are like King Giz drum sounds. Like, they didn't necessarily produce it super differently.
Yeah. Well, even Petro Dragonic, as thrash as it is, it's like you can tell this is like this funny Australian psych band like
Right.
playing thrash music,
Yeah.
and it's really fucking good. But like, you can never mistake it as anything else.
Totally.
How many times have you guys seen them live?
I've only seen them that one time.
one
I
time?
was really wanting to see them like when they came to Red Rocks, but that was on like a work night for me, so I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I had a ticket to see them during like the original marathon sets.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and then I forgot that I had my ticket, so I just never went to the rescheduled show. So I've never seen
Never
them.
seen 'em.
Damn.
I saw him for my first time last November, the like second marathon shows. I think I saw the second night,
Oh, sick.
and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot.
Like, I was gonna say like, yeah, they're really getting super, super popular. Even in 2019, I was really surprised to see like when I showed up for the show, like the line to see them like wrapped around like 3 blocks in like downtown Chicago. It was
That's wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been popular in big cities for a while, but now it just feels like they're super popular
Popular
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah.
And there's something for everybody too, kind of like what we said earlier.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, it's really cool. Yeah, I feel like they're becoming, not to sound like too critical or like an asshole, but they're becoming that band, the people who don't really like music that much and who just like going to Red Rocks for the culture of Red Rocks and love getting fucked up, latch onto because that's like the culture around
Yes,
there now.
there were a lot of those people at the 2019 show I went to, which is a little bit annoying.
Yeah,
Definitely.
No, I've met a lot of people, like I've talked to a couple of people recently who they're like, oh, I love King Giz, and it's like, yeah, like, do you or like,
Name all the lizards.
Name all their albums. Oh yeah, what's your top 3 albums? No, not and you know, not in like not that I'd ever be like, oh, you like really a fan of the music, but it's just like how people would like to hark back to our EDM conversation, Julian, how people are kind of with EDM where it's like a convenient way to go and get fucked up and like there's like a culture around it.
I still think, granted I've never been to a show, I still think that they have a lot more genuine fans at their shows than just
and there's nothing wrong with even
there
people who like going to the shows just to have fun.
There kind of is. If you go to a show and your single goal is to get fucked up,
well, yeah,
then fuck you.
If your single goal is to do that,
should have stayed home and done that.
You should have just stayed home.
Yeah,
Date your wife instead.
But I also don't think there's anything inherently wrong like going to a concert just to have a good time. You know, like
no.
And I shouldn't say everyone's just
Having
out with a single goal of getting fucked up.
Are different things.
Yeah. There are definitely people who want to get. For me, they're not.
Well, I think you might need some therapy for that.
I'm just joking. Except at King Giz shows, I do go there just to get fucked up.
Nice.
Just joking.
Well,
I'm a real fan.
Well, the more
like they're one of the best live bands ever or anything.
Yeah.
Well, the more popular they get, the more those kinds of people will show up anyway.
Yeah. That's all I was saying is like they're so popular now. There's like a there's that thing around them where it's not just like fans going anymore. It's like people who just want to hop on
people know
train and like
be good
there's a culture around it.
Yeah, and that also on the flip side too, with them being more popular, it's really interesting for me to see people who like don't really think very deeply about music, or like music is just like vocals with some exciting stuff behind that. Like liking King Gizzard, and they don't really know like why they like it, but for things like some of my friends, they really like the lyrics and stuff, especially with like the King Giz verse kind of things, like with Polygon Wannaland, because actually the story, and I'm someone that like the lyrics aren't that important for me, but the story in Polygon Wannaland that they tell throughout is a really interesting story, and I think that also really heightens the album. It's also like what gets other people into it who like don't necessarily know what what a polymeter is or anything like that.
It's interesting too. When I got into Giz at first, and I listened to Polygon Wonderland and thought, like, this is amazing. I kind of like Googled like them and tried to find them on Reddit and shit, whatever. And a lot of people like hated Polygon Wonderland. A lot of Giz fans specifically hated it because they're just like, it's too out there. It's like too experimental. It's too weird. And then I kind of realized, that a lot of the super passionate Giz fans from back in the day were just like the people that really liked old Giz, like OG Giz. And now it feels a lot more like Giz fans really like the new shit. So I think that's where you find that like their fan base has just tripled so quickly that the new sound doesn't necessarily cater to that newer audience, because I still feel like they do whatever they want. But the new sound like keeps that in mind a bit more, where it's like, if we can universalize our own discography in the sense that they all kind of sound the same and carry themes and have high points like lyrically throughout each album, then like it will satisfy like the old fans and the new fans alike, kind of, if they even put that much thought into it.
Yeah. How long did it take you guys, and like how did you in the first place get into all like the lore behind it and like learn about like King Giz verses and shit like that,
Well, I don't know that much about it, but my friend's Adam, he really likes the stories that they kind of tell, which are super weird. And so he told me about that stuff, especially like with Polygon Wonderland, also Murder the Universe and Nonagon Infinity. They're like all part of the same like storyline in a weird way.
So explain it for the listeners.
I barely know anything about it. I know for Polygon Wonderland, the first half of the album is like about this guy like searching for the tetrachromacy, which is like this super, I think, insanely powerful artifact that basically like would turn you into a god if you possessed it. And it's really interesting because halfway through the album, there's like he basically searches his whole life for it, and it's only like the halfway point. So he like tells this guy in like a bar or something about his search for the tetrachromacy, and then the next part of the album is that dude's search for the tetrachromacy. And at the very end, I'm pretty sure he gets it, and that's like the weird part at the end of it where there's like all that silence for like a minute, and then there's just like screaming because he just like became a god and just like does whatever he wants to do and stuff. So it's like it's kind of crazy, honestly. And then yeah, it's I think the fourth color is the one
Yep.
at the end, and yeah, so like and also like takes place on this like way back in the past on this like like a super continent like on Pangea or something like that. So yeah, it's a very strange story, but it's kind of cool. And the other one, Murder of the Universe, also is very weird. There's something about like I don't know if the track off of it called Vomit Coffin or something.
Yeah. Vomit Coffin.
Vomit Coffin. It's like about
pretty good
this.
song.
It's like about this dude who vomits so much that he fills the entire universe with vomit and everyone drowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on some other shit.
Yeah, the Nonagon also is cool. The reason I like Nonagon is because it goes right back into itself. It's like a seamless loop. And that's also part of like the story around it too. So yeah, that's that stuff is like, yeah, I think knowing that stuff honestly made those records, I like them even more because of that. Like actually with Murder the Universe, I don't necessarily really like any of the tracks off it, but I do kind of like the weird story that they told in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, I was going to say too, this is considered their breakthrough. This is the album that like launched them kind of into the next level of
To the
popularity.
mainstream.
Because Gamma Knife is on it. What's the other one that's on it? Mr. Beat. That
Mr.
was the one
Beat.
that was super popular for
That
a
one.
while.
I really like People Vultures.
This one was
yeah.
directly before Flying Microtonal. Oh, it has it right there.
This was like
Yeah, their follow up was Flying Microtonal Banana.
yeah.
Because I feel like that really solidified their legitimate. Yeah, like this is probably the album where I first started hearing about them, and then when Microtonal Banana came out and Rattlesnake was a big single, I think I was like, oh, King Giz is,
Yeah.
they're like legit.
They're legit
This is a
now.
legit band, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I actually didn't really care for this one when I first listened to it, but I really like to put this one on when I'm doing like long drives or trips because it's pretty repetitive, but it like kind of the repetitions kind of are almost hypnotic to me.
It also has like the most of their, I would say, conventionally really popular songs on it, except for maybe like, what's the other one? Paper Mache or whatever. But I think this album to answer the question from a long time ago, this album and Polygon Wonderland are definitely like part A and part B of like the same story.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of figured out that there was lore to it all. And then I just kind of read about it on Reddit. And then I kind of decided I didn't care about it that much. Like it doesn't
never
make
been
the
able to get
music
that much into it.
imperative. Like it's not imperative to the music.
It just adds a
for me.
layer of like impressiveness to me. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, that's dope that they're all conceptual and like they're not just putting out random songs.
I
It's,
think
you
that's
know.
how that they can maintain like the somewhat neo psychedelic element through all the different type of shit that they play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like something that, you know, like fans could endlessly discuss. So it works
Yeah.
really well for the fan base, especially like I said, for people that really they do like narratives in their music. Like they value that more than like, you know, any of the musical elements. Like that's why like other bands too, like what's that one folk project, the Deer Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Like
that
his
dude has weird lyrics.
yeah.
Bradford Cox.
But he has like 5 concept albums that like or just tell like an entire like story the entire way through, which is like it's pretty cool and it's definitely interesting.
It is interesting to see how I think like because Stu McKenzie specifically has kind of always done that with Giz since the beginning. And some bands that have been around for like longer or around the same amount of time like don't do that at all. So it's just kind of interesting to see like why and how they are able to continue that throughout. But also at the same time, like clearly when he started they didn't have like a huge fan base. So it's not like he was doing it for the fan base. I think he was just doing it to tickle some sort of creative itch that he had for himself.
Definitely. And with as prolific as they are, I wonder if it does make songwriting easier, like preparing that many albums where you're like, all right, here's the story of this album, you know, and I have a theme to write about. Because, you know, to put out as many albums as they do, like for all of them just to be random collections of songs would be almost more mind-blowing than to have all of them be conceptual.
Because I think the way that the albums are presented, it almost seems like they have the idea for the concept and the lyrical content like before the album exists, like well before the album exists.
Yeah.
It's like, so the next album's going to be a thrash metal album and it's going to be about the end of the universe and then like see what we can do to get there. Which is like in a lot of ways the complete opposite of how so many people write songs and albums.
Yeah, that and also I think they just don't take themselves very seriously, so it's probably easier to generate material.
Yeah.
When you're not like being like, oh, I gotta like write the best fucking riff ever.
It's cool because their music's like light and boisterous and kind of tongue in cheek a lot of the times, but it's never like a joke. Like it's always very serious.
Yeah.
If it was,
It's not like Ween.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ween is like serious a third of the time, and then the other third of the time they're like totally just fucking doing whatever, being as weird as possible on purpose, and then the other third of the time they're trying to be like experimental and kind of push the envelope, whereas Giz is like all those elements at the same time every album. So it's like to a serious musical effort, I would say like they're always putting like the songwriting and the quality of the song like first.
Yeah. I think it was on Time Crisis. I was listening to a recent episode, and they're talking about Ween and Fish. This reminded me because we were talking about Fish earlier, and they were like Fish, and I feel like King Giz is this way too, are like the weird kids at school who are like accepting of everybody, like yeah, like you hang out with us, we're like weird outcasts. Where Ween are just like the really weird outcasts who are like, if you try to like really mean to you, like, oh, you don't know this, you're fucking stupid. So yeah,
I love Ween.
Do you like Ween?
I
Will, do you like Ween?
I do like
I
Ween.
like Ween a lot too. I actually know and have worked many times with their front of house sound guy.
Oh, that's
nice.
sick.
Yeah, he's the most unassuming guy ever. He works at the Mish pretty regularly, which is how I know him.
Doesn't Dean Ween like have a venue in Denver, or is he like working on a venue in Denver?
I don't know about that actually.
I thought at some point in the past I heard that he was trying to build a venue that you could get high in legally.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is weed's probably legal in Pennsylvania, right? Is it from Pennsylvania? Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know about Pennsylvania.
Do that a goog. I bet it is. It's almost legal everywhere. I think it's legal in Arkansas now.
Not Arkansas, but
Oh, that's right. You were just there.
Yeah.
Are they like talking about making it in Arkansas?
I think they're actually going backwards in Arkansas.
Oh,
They're
really?
they're like cracking down on CBD and shit now. So, yeah, all right. No, Missouri actually, which is kind of crazy that Missouri like just
It's illegal in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so that makes sense why Ween would do it in Colorado.
I think that Dean Ween like lives here now
He does?
or something. One of them has lived in Denver for a while, or like partially is based out of Denver.
That's cool.
Or something.
If I ever bumped into Dean Ween downtown, I don't think I'd approach him.
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah,
definitely
trying to
not.
say
I
it,
wouldn't.
dude.
I wouldn't be like, hey, man.
Yeah, hey, big fan, man.
If it was really like any famous person, I don't think I'd do that.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just not one to do that, but especially Dean Ween.
Are you scared of Dean Ween?
I just don't. Yeah, I'm not scared, but I just worried it wouldn't be a. I don't know. He seems like a cool dude, actually. I bet it'd be a good interaction, but
It would be fine.
I bet he likes getting recognized.
He's not like famous enough that it happens all the time, but
Yeah.
he is famous enough that it happens like most of the time. So
Yeah,
I think he's good.
but Ween, it's like if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Word. Well, that was kind of just a giz mishmash.
I know we were.
We didn't get into too much about like the history. Or
I think that was pretty good, actually. I think that's as much as
that's
we
all
should have
that
covered
we
today.
really care about.
We can
Yeah.
definitely do a part 2 and go
Pretty
in on the
much.
history if you guys ever want to.
Yeah, something
I
like
just couldn't
that.
talk that much about it. I'll
I
need
don't
to
know
do
that
a-
much about
a
it
big,
really either.
A big read.
I just kind of know that they like didn't exist and then they did exist. And
Started
then
in
they put out a
2010.
bunch of albums.
I could
and
tell
now
you
we're
that
here.
much.
Yeah, that. Also, like, not just them, but there's like a lot of music coming out of Australia that's just like
I was going to bring up the
insanely
Australia
good.
thing.
It's insanely
Australia really punches above their weight.
especially with like jazz stuff too. Like Highest Coyote's also from Australia,
That's right. I forgot about
and
that.
they also kind of just exploded onto the scene.
Yeah, before,
Oh, yeah, Tame
before, yeah,
Impala.
I was gonna say Tame Impala. Before this decade, it was AC/DC and INXS.
And
were
also
the
Midnight Oil.
Midnight Oil.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
popular.
Oh, in the church.
Pond is. Wait, no, I knew that. I forgot they were Australian for a second.
The Vines. Not a great group. I
It's
like
interest-
DMAs
oh, there's King
actually.
Giz.
You guys ever heard of DMAs?
No, I'm not.
No.
They tour with Liam Gallagher every once in a while,
Oh,
so
oh,
that's
Wolf
why
Mother,
I like
they're
them.
cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
Oh yeah.
Powderfinger. Did you know they're from
Yeah.
Australia?
No, I didn't know they were from Australia.
The Bee Gees, huh?
I didn't know the
Oh
Bee
yeah,
Gees were
Jet
either.
is on here.
The Bee Gees are American.
No, Bee Gees are from Australia. They moved to England though, kind of early in their career.
You know where the Killers are from?
Las Vegas.
Yes, everybody thinks they're a British group.
I know. Yeah, I know Barry Gibbs lives in America now. Yeah, England has totally adopted the Killers.
No, they
They're
did
born
totally.
on the Isle of Man. That's interesting. Oh, battery
the
low.
battery died on that one. That might be our sign to
That's it. We're done.
finish this up.
We can't do this shit with one angle, so we're good.
Yeah, there's not going to be enough dynamic cuts.
Not enough.
Word. Well, do you guys feel satisfied?
Yeah, I feel satisfied.
I'm always satisfied. Thanks for finally being on the pod, Will.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
We'll definitely have you on in the future.
Figure out some shit you want to talk about again.
Yes, sir.
You got to sacrifice sometimes and talk about shit you don't want to talk about. Though. Like
Yeah,
Oasis.
I do it every single week.
Shut up, dude. A lot of the episodes have been your
No, it's true.
shit.
We got to do some.
Which
Jack
ones have you
White.
really not want to talk about?
None of
Just
them.
Britpop.
No, I've been.
And you were even
no,
on
I was.
Britpop.
I was interested in Britpop.
Yeah.
I think it's really it's an interesting time in history, and
Yeah.
it's an interesting cultural.
And you
it's
like
interesting
you
how
like
much-
Blur. You
It's
like
interesting how much cultural significance Britpop. It's literally like, okay, sorry, but like we have Britpop and then we have grunge, right? And they're
Mhm.
like different, but it's crazy how they're like the two defining like characteristics of like the 90s and 2000s. It's like
Yeah.
either Britpop or you're grunge.
grunge.
And like that includes your clothing, how you talk, like what you're into, like how
Yeah.
you feel about
It's
the
very
world,
similar to the
like-
rocker versus mod thing that happened in the 60s,
It
where
is.
Britpop dudes were mods and grungers were rockers. History
Yeah.
repeats itself.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, now next episode it's gonna be Christian worship music.
All
That'd actually
right.
be really great. Anyways, great episode about King Giz. Any closing remarks, anybody?
Oh man.
Let's go have a practice.
Let's go jam.
Let's go
do
practice
some
some
multimeter
songs.
jams. No, we gotta practice
Yeah,
the
I'm
set.
gonna add a beat to all of my parts for all the songs.
Okay,
Good.
I'm going to subtract a 16th note from every third measure.
You're gonna take it.
I'm gonna play my parts normally. We'll hope it works out.
Can you count like to 4? You can do like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is that needed for music?
Just in general, like in any context, can you do that?
Yeah, 5 sometimes too.
Let's hear it.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay, that was
6.
almost linear.
It's good enough for rock and roll.
It's good enough for what we need it for.
Yeah. Can you count to 7?
Yeah, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What's your guys' favorite time signature?
Honestly, I think it's got to be 7/4.
I was gonna say 7 for
I
me
love
too.
7/4.
I like 7 too. I like 7/4
Yeah,
as well. Not 7/2.
7/4 is good. I like 11/8 also.
6
It's kind of
plus
hard.
7 is fun.
It's difficult to write like a smooth song. In
So you do like
11/8
1,
though.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kind of.
Yeah, you could do that. It's really good if you actually do like a 12 or like a 14/8 groove underneath it, and then like something else is playing in 11/8 on top. It like it works out
That
pretty
would work
well.
because it'd line up like
Every
third time.
third beat.
Yeah, and
or
then it
measurement
works
or-
better that way. It's less choppy if you do it that way. And also you can
That's
you can
fucking
even
crazy.
hide the fact. I love it when like acts actually hide what the meter is behind like something else that's just
That
doing
sounds
like
Yeah.
4/4.
conventional, yeah.
But then it's just crazy. Like Mouse on the Keys does that really
Sean
good.
did that
Sean
all the
does that
time.
really
good.
Homie.
Yeah.
Yes, Sean does that really
Shout out Sean.
well.
We should do a Sean episode sometime.
Just do a
I
math.
could do a Tron episode.
I'll do a
Yeah.
math
I can
rock.
do a math rock episode.
Yeah. I like 5/4 a lot as
Five's
well.
probably my second, honestly.
Yeah.
7, I think 7's just cool because you can do like 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3, or you can do like 5 plus
Plus
2,
two,
which
yeah.
feels like totally different from like 4 plus 3 or 3 plus 4.
Mhm. Totally.
And then you can also do like 6 and 1,
One.
like adding 1 extra note to a bar of 6, which is cool. 6/4 is honestly pretty sick too.
They're all good.
Yeah.
They're all pretty sick.
They're all good. But none
Uh,
are as good as 4/4.
I love that we're still talking directly into the mics. Like, this is going
Yeah.
into the pod.
4/4.
I'm gonna keep the time signature stuff in.
You're gonna edit around the.
The Christian
middle
worship
part.
stuff. Yeah. All right. Cut to outro. Thanks everyone.
Cut to outro here. No, before this. Right there.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.